Barakate Hawa, Barakate Hawa Shai, Barakate Hawa, Barakate Hawa Shai, Barakate Hawa, Barakate Hawa Shai. Shalom, this is Brother Canuck from Indianapolis Camp. I want to start out by giving all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakwadash. Double honor to Apostles, Elders, Great Wisdom, they teach you real well. Peace, be the same to the whole flag, pushing this true week in, week out. Sincerity, charity, and love. And the spirit, Yahweh Shai, throughout the four corners of the earth. All right? I'm going to go into the wisdom that's in the streets, man. It's the men of the Lord. Nobody wanted to take heed and listen to the wisdom that's going on forth. Everybody's taking this thing as a joke, as the truth as a joke. It's not just a thing, but the truth as a joke. Everybody look at us to see, they're not the men of the Lord. They don't know what's going on. But the Lord has proven us through various prophecies coming to pass to our elders and apostles, through us study striving to push the word, man. All right. Well, soon the Lord's going to take this wisdom off the street. But this is what's going on right now. All right, in these trying days, man. Just Proverbs chapter 1, verse 20. It says, wisdom cried without, she uttered her voice in the streets. All right. And that's the wisdom of the scriptures, man. All right, coming from the men of the Lord. She cried for the chief place of concourse in the opening of the gates. All right, that chief place of concourse is we go out to the highways and byways. All right, the chief place of concourse is where everybody's going to be congregating. In the ancient days, this would be considered, what do they call it? The marketplace or town where everybody was going every day. All right, and that's what we do. We go out on the highways and byways and teach the words of the Lord, right in the chief place of concourse where everybody's going around, where everybody's going to be able to hear it. All right, it says in the city she uttered her words, saying, how long, you simple ones, will you love simplicity? All right. And that's talking to our people, you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. How long will you love the simplicities of this world? How long will you be caught up in the simple things of this world, man? Because everything in this world is simple, and the Lord has greatness awaiting upon us, man. He has a reward that we should be chasing after, you know? It says, in the scorners delight in scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Right, all you people who are talking crap against the men of the Lord, talking crap against the truth, the doctrine. All right, how long are you guys going to be simple, man? All right, and the scorners delight in that scorn, and these dudes are happy to scorn the men of the Lord. They're happy to go up against what the Lord has to say, man. All right, we know that these things have to come to pass. All right, because the Lord said it had to come to pass, man. You know, it says, turn you in my reproof. All right, and how the Lord is giving his reproof through the men of the Lord, letting people know that what is required of them in the spirit, you know, what the Lord needs us to do on the side. The scriptures have not left one thing unturned of how to live right on this side, and the requirements of Yahweh Shem Shai, man, until it's coming, man. All right, it says. It says, behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. And those are the men going over the various breakdowns, the men who are prophesying, all right, on the highways and byways. All right, the men who are doing their videos with electric epistles. All right, that's the hopeful elect, and that's how the words of the Lord are being known unto this earth. All right, because the men of the Lord are pushing this word, you know, in a heavy vibration, man. You know, but that's how you know that that's how he's going to pour out his spirit, let his words be known unto you. All right, through his elect. It says, because I have called and you have refused, I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded. And that's what's going on. You know, people hear the words, they just shun off the words of Yahweh Shema Shai. They shun off the word. They don't want to hear his words. All right, they don't want to deal with the words of the Lord. All right, they rather just continue in their own mess, man. Party of bullshit, have fun. When there's really no fun, you know, left in this place because the Lord has took all the fun out of this place, man. There's nothing left to do, man. This place is just a place of decaying and turmoil, man. All right. It says, But ye have sat not in all my counsel and with none of my reproof. All right, so yeah, you don't want to take the counsel of the men of the Lord. You don't want to take the correction of the men of the Lord. All right, you got a price to pay for that, man. It says, I will also laugh in your calamity. I will also laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. All right, because the Lord gave you a chance. He stretched out his hand. Nobody wanted to listen. All right, you didn't want to take heed. So now the Lord is saying, what? When I start destroying this place, when I start tearing your life upside down, then I'm gonna laugh at your calamity. I'm gonna mock you. All right. It says, when fear comes as a desolation, and destruction comes as a whirlwind, and distress and anguish come upon you. Right. So when all hell is breaking loose in your life, all right, because you didn't want to take heed to the man of the Lord, you didn't want to listen, you want to do your own thing. All right, the Lord is gonna laugh at you. He's gonna laugh at you to the man of the Lord. That's why we laugh when we see people get jacked up. That's why we laugh when certain things happen in the earth. All right, because we know this is all a judgment of Yahweh Shema Shai, man. It says, "Then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer." And that's just the human nature of this place, man. You know, Jake don't want to call upon the Lord until there's trouble. They don't want to call upon the Lord until all chips are down. All right, not perceiving that the Lord is the one that helped them through all this trouble that they had before, and even now the trouble they're going through, man. All right, because the Lord can make things worse. You know, it says, so now the Lord saying He called to His man. He put his words out there. He put his truth out there, and you didn't even take heed of it. So now the Lord not even going to answer, man. You're not going to be able to find Him. It says, for they hated knowledge and did not choose to fear the Lord. Right? They have no fear of Yahweh Shema Shai. All right? And that's most of these people on this earth, man. You know, including a lot of people, you niggas, Latinos, and Native Americans. They don't have no fear of Yahweh Shema Shai. They don't have no fear of what's coming. They don't have no fear of anything, man. All right? They live in a day-by-day life. Do what thou wilt spirit. So they don't have that fear of the Lord. But that fear of the Lord is going to come upon their life, man. It says, they were none of my counsel. They despised all my reproof. Right. They hated it. All right. When you despise something, you hate it. So when you despise the word of Yahweh Shema Shai, you're saying that you hate the word of the Lord, man. All right. You don't want to hear nothing. It says, therefore shall they eat the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. All right. So the Lord is letting you know, man, you're going to go through this destruction, man. All right, you're going to be slayed. All right, because you wanted to be simple. You didn't want to take heed to the destruction that's coming. You didn't want to take heed to getting right with Yahweh Shema Shai before he crashed the sky, man. All right, it calls upon his elect. You know, you didn't want to take heed to your brother or your family member who was trying to tell you about the scriptures. All right, but now the Lord said it's too late. You're going to be destroyed, man. It says, but whoso hearken unto me shall dwell safely. And that's why we do this thing of ours, man. We want to be dwell safely. We want to be counted worthy in the day of the Lord, man. All right? We don't want to be destroyed. It says, and shall be quiet from the fear of evil. All right? Evil can go at bad times, man. All right? We want to be quiet in the fear of evil. We want the Lord to have his hands wrapped around us. We want to be under his protection, man. So we take heed to the words of our elders and apostles. We take heed to the words of the scriptures. We take heed to the wisdom of the word. All right, we apply it in our lives, and we go out and we teach it. All right, but for those who won't take heed, all right, for those who despise these words, all right, you're going to be destroyed right up in your own mess, man. You know? So Lord willing to edify to the body. And with that, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. The Wallace Apostle Elders Great Millstone, they teach you real well. Peace, be safe to the whole flag, pushing this truth week in, week out. Sincerity, charity, and love, and the spirit of Yahweh, with the four corners of the earth. With that, I want to say shalom.